The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. This government recently announced the closing of the Family Medical Clinic in St. Boniface. No reasonable explanation was given, but we have heard that this sudden decision has stranded 3,000 or more patients without referrals, many of whom have been there for decades, many elderly with complex needs. The WRHA has no plan for what to do for them. A patient wrote to me to say, quote, "A hotline was put in place to answer questions, but no answers are forthcoming. The staff do not know where they are going. The patients served by the FMC cannot find out who their doctor is or where they will receive service. This is a horrible way to treat patients and staff," end quote. We agree, Madam Speaker. Can the Premier explain what exactly is courageous about breaking his promise to shield frontline workers from his cuts and stranding thousands of Manitobans without a doctor?
The Honourable First Minister.
I appreciate any question from a Liberal member on health care and support for health care, given the stoic response to the member opposite to the federal government's unwillingness to support a partnership with health care that is sustainable. I would appreciate him changing his position and joining with his colleagues elsewhere in the House to support the federal government reintroducing itself as a genuine partner in the support of health care in our province. That would be helpful, Madam Speaker, and I'd appreciate that support.
Yeah.
The Honourable Leader of the Second Opposition on a supplementary question.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. The Premier and the members opposite have been repeating a series of talking points about healthcare that are divorced from reality and years out of date. This government is essentially running two sets of books, and it's on display in the fiscal and economic update. Two charts, one on what they promised and the other on what they actually delivered, which is cuts to healthcare. In 2017-18, this government promised $198 million more that never appeared. In 2018-2019, $247 million more, which never happened, all while federal funding goes up, though the Premier himself voted to change the formula that undermined Manitoba's healthcare system. Taking credit for others' accomplishments while blaming everybody else for their mistakes is usually considered a serious character flaw, Madam Speaker, but it's the defining feature of this government. Will the Premier admit that he is the one freezing and cutting in healthcare, or will he just continue to blame the NDP, the federal government, and the elderly just for growing old?
The Honourable First Minister.
Attacking someone's integrity, Madam Speaker, is not a strategy. If the member would like to focus on integrity, perhaps...
Order.
Perhaps, Madam Speaker, he would like to focus on the conduct of his federal colleagues recently. If he would like to focus on integrity, perhaps he would like to stand in his place and deplore the obvious rejection of the rule of law as a priority for people in legislative positions. If he'd like to attack someone for their integrity, perhaps he'd like to attack his federal colleagues for running on a promise to balance the books and running a $20 billion deficit and promising to do that for another 25 years. And I expect again today, keeping that promise, not the one they ran on. But instead, Madam Speaker, he'll do none of those things. He'll simply stand here in this place and represent Ottawa to us while we represent Manitobans, Madam Speaker.